Hello, everybody. My name is Franklin, and I'm really excited to talk to you about my experience participating in a Zoom Christian Bible study, or Zoom Christian meeting, I should say, in Spanish. Again, my name is Franklin, and this is first1000hours.com. All right, so I'm going to put up my presentation right here. And like I said, we're talking about a Zoom Spanish story. And I just will go to the next slide. And I want to give you a little bit more details. Now, when I first did the first Zoom Bible study in Spanish, or at least participated in it, I did not lead out in that. I was participating in the part where they asked for praises. They had a prayer and praise section. And so I spoke in Spanish and all of that. And after the Zoom meeting finished, then I WhatsApped my Spanish friend who had invited me to go to that meeting, and I was telling her, "Hey, I'm sorry about my messed up Spanish, basically." And she said, "Don't worry about that, Franklin. We understood what you were saying." And that's the most important thing, for people to actually know what you are saying in whatever language you're talking about, right? Or talking in. And so I think that I'm just warming up to this group more and more, and just getting a little bit more relaxed and speaking in Spanish. All right, I want to go on to the presentation, share a few some other things. So with this meeting, this was a meeting that was interesting because there were native Spanish speakers from Costa Rica, and I believe also the Dominican Republic. I think everyone was a native Spanish speaker, if I'm not mistaken, with the exception of myself. And in this Zoom meeting, there were at the peak 15 people that were in the meeting. So I thought that was cool. And so it was cool to also have an international meeting with so many different people as well. Even though it was small, but it was international, which was cool. All right, so let's continue. So there were only 3 English words that were spoken that I remember in this Zoom call. And this Zoom call happened yesterday. And the only 3 words that were spoken in English were from myself. I was talking about a ministry, and that ministry's name is in English. And so that's why English was even spoken. Okay, so I want to tell you the difference between this recent Zoom call that I had as opposed to other ones. So in every single Zoom call, there has been encouragement of participation at different times in the Zoom call. But after we went through the preliminaries, like praying, and then also being able to choose songs that we would watch on Zoom together and different things like that. But when we went into the main part of the program, it wasn't someone leading out in a Bible study this time or sharing a Bible-based thought, but it was people asking, "Hey, what are your thoughts about this subject?" And so basically they wanted a lot of people to respond and give their thoughts. And so I like that aspect to participate. And since I have already been with this group in about maybe, I don't know, 8 other Zoom calls, I felt a little bit more comfortable in speaking as well. So I just want to go in here and share a few some other things. So one thing that I have emphasized here at First 1000 Hours is listening. And guess what? That was very important for this Zoom call, because there was one point when I was speaking, but I forgot to, I turned off my mic. I turned on my mic for Zoom, but I forgot to turn on my mic with this Blue Yeti mic. And so when I was speaking, one of my friends could hear my voice, or my friend could hear my voice. I'm sorry, she could see my mouth moving. She couldn't hear my voice. And so she said, "Hey, we can't hear you, Franklin." And because I understood what that meant, then I could go to my mic and then actually click the button that turns this on. But if I didn't know what other people were saying, then I could have continued to speak thinking that people could hear what I was saying. All right. So I want to show you some other things here. Now, speaking about listening, I have a video that I went in depth about the stages of listening comprehension. And I think that that's something that you should watch. And so I'll put a YouTube card up here. And Connie, my friend, was sharing the stages of listening comprehension. All right, I want to continue in this presentation and share a few some other things. One of my mottos, I think, for First 1000 Hours is to focus on what you can do. Sometimes we put ourselves in a box because we think about all these things about what we can't do, when we should be thinking about what we can do. And so I had to apply those principles as I was speaking with all these native speakers as well. And so I'll give you some examples. One of them was I needed to say 2015 in this Zoom call. And so numbers kind of trip me up. I haven't really focused on speaking in Spanish with numbers and all of this. And so I wanted to say basically the year 2015. And so instead of me saying 2015, what I said was 2015. And guess what? They understood what I was saying. I said año 2015. And it worked, right? So they understood what I was trying to say. But I could have said, well, I don't know exactly how to say 2015, and then I could have been silent when I could have actually used the understanding I had and continued to speak, which is what I did. All right, and I have some other things to share with you. So sometimes my words are a little bit jumbled, and so my friend just clarified what I was saying. She asked, okay, is this what you meant? And she asked that in Spanish. She did not ask that in English. And then I heard what she said, and because I could understand what she said, I said, yeah, that's what I meant. And so I knew that people understood what I was saying, and my thoughts also were able to add to the discussion. I know that that's the case, not only because of what I said, but then I also heard other people comment about what I said. And so I was able to speak with native Spanish speakers in this video conference call, and I was able to add to discussion. And one thing that was helpful that I forgot to put in my little presentation here is one thing that's helpful for myself is when I'm not focused on my mistakes. That's one of the reasons why I like to do live streams, even though I make mistakes and all of this. And I even did that on this live stream right now. But I think especially when the live stream is public, I have to really focus on the fact that people might be here, and I just need to focus on giving you content. And it was the same kind of idea where I was focused more on expressing my thoughts than I was with focusing on mistakes because other people were there, right? And I wanted to focus on the topic, and the topic became more important to me than what I was saying or not saying in Spanish, as long as I was conveying my thoughts. And so don't worry about things like that. Don't worry about making mistakes. Continue in your language learning journey. And I want to share with you that I also have other videos about language learning at a Spanish church. I have done that as a language learning strategy. And so I'll put that on the screen as well as a video that YouTube recommends. And I hope to see you in the next video.